Welcome Port Melbourne Football Club and their supporters here today to tough it out against Leeds boys. Thank you all for joining us. If you're having a drink today, make sure you stay in a designated area and do so responsibly. Let's play football. We hope to watch some amazing football today, so sit back, enjoy, and please be respectful to others. Thank you.
we played on turf last night. That's probably that's the best one we've played on.
Did you play last night?
Where? So it was out of that same ground that Dan played at. It's It's at that same field but on the turf.
Sure? All right, out.
Let's get him out now. They're coming out.
Let's go, mate. Come on.
Go, boys.
"91 days, that is how much time has passed since Manningham United have won a league game at Petty's Reserve. Could this afternoon be the day as Manningham United take on Port Melbourne in round number 18 of the NPL Victoria men's competition? Marinos' young Port Melbourne Sharks side have had, well, an interesting few weeks. Last week, a poor 3-0 loss to Hume City. And ironically, the week before that, they did something that they couldn't do in retrospect to Manningham United. Port Melbourne drawing to Moreland City away. And Manningham's last win came against that very side in April of this year. I am Neil Simons for Port Victoria, taking you through the action this afternoon here at Petty's Reserve. A massive Super Saturday of NPL Victoria football. 4 matches kicking off in and around the 3 p.m. time slot in round number 18. Starting off with the away side for the Port Melbourne Sharks. They do welcome back on the bench Manningham Karmas, who's been out for quite a while, although he takes place on the bench. Number 12, Alex Baker. Number 14, Jackson Courtney Perkins. Number 18, Fraser Dunlop. Number 6, Dan Edwards. Number 28, Nathaniel Hancock. Number 11, Charlie Leach. Number 22, Maker. Number 24, Evan Makoyanakis. Number 35, Emmanuel Peters. And number 10, Owen Stokes. As for the home side, well, plenty of young players being bedded in within this first team. That reflects in the lineup chosen this afternoon by George Karkaletsis. Number 4, Dawa Cole. Number 5, Alex Castiello. Number 9, Ben Everson. Number 20, Tom Golding. Number 11, Robert Harding. Number 6, Junior Carter. Number 7, Jose Ramirez. Number 2, Marco Tabella. Number 10, Christos Theodorakopoulos. Number 33, Ali Todgut. And number 1, George Samaranis. Our referee in the middle is Puya Gandirian, supported by his assistants Benjamin Labello and Sebastian Starrell. Our 4th official is Lucas Mattia. Well, can the Sharkies manage to repeat what they did on March the 9th of this year, in which they defeated Manningham United at JL Murphy Reserve? A 3-0 win for them. 2 goals to the man who kicked us off this afternoon, Emmanuel Peters, and 1 to Mark As previously mentioned, Manningham winless in their last 9 fixtures in the NPL. Port Melbourne Sharks, on the other hand, have Dandenong City breathing heavily down their necks as a win against the Oakley Cannons on Monday ensure there's only 3 points separating the two sides. Manningham United also plunged into the relegation zone. The bottom 2 slots in the normal NPL Victoria season would see them go down. Of course, the national second tier coming up next season, only one might go down. Moreland City's result against Avondale was reversed to a 3-0 win for the relegation battlers, ensuring that Manningham slipped down a spot. And Moreland, for the first time this season, out of the relegation zone. Now towards that right-hand side with Tom Golding. The Kiwis found it very tough to break into this first team, but his form in recent weeks has been nothing but superb. Scored the equaliser against the Altona Magic a few weeks ago in an outstanding 5-4 game, which really had everyone surprised amongst the league. 9-goal thriller at Petty's Reserve, and did score a free kick against the Dandenong Thunder a few weeks back in that 1-1 draw. Results hard to come by for George Karkaletsis, but they'll be confident they can secure 3 points against this Port Melbourne side, who a few injuries here and there, a change within the goalkeeping ranks. Ilya Shalamanov-Trinkova has been displaced as number 1, probably owing to the fact that when he was in goal, they did have the worst defensive record within the top 6, and that's to be expected as they are in 6th place. Out towards that right-hand side, Turgut. Here is Golding, stepping into space and finding Ramirez back to goal. Here is Theodorakopoulos, who ran formerly of Moreland City and signed for the Bentley Greens a few rounds into last season. Played his juniors at Avondale. Here's Dawa Cole, who of course has come back into the side in recent weeks after being out for over a month with injury. Formerly of the Saladin Sharks, Dandenong Thunder, and made a big step up last season from Doveton, who played themselves in NPL 3, as we do see space open up for the home side. A misplaced pass directed towards Everson. Now Theodorakopoulos can't get his footing under it, and Ganderian doesn't call for a foul, and Dan Edwards will pick up. Here's Courtney Perkins. Back towards Baker. Within the starting lineup, there's no player over the age of 30 for the Port Melbourne Sharks. A really interesting statistic. Of course, Marinos, a championship-winning coach at under-21 level in the NPL with the Port Melbourne Sharks, and took over the reins of the first team this season. Tactically dynamic and engaging young coach is Marinos, who's at all levels in Greece as well. Here's Dunlop. One of the very few players that was retained from last season's Port Melbourne side, which was coached by Adam Pettick. Here's Maker. Stokes receives centrally. It's back with Alex Baker now. Courtney Perkins. Hancock. Here's Stokes. Looking for the switch. Tavella was able to step inside, and here's Bechmanovsky. Searching ball, Everson with a good flick from his chest. Ramirez back towards Everson, approaching the penalty area, turning on his right. It's Ben Everson, and a good save from Marco Giannakis. Theodorakopoulos will look to cause the Sharks some more trouble. And here's Ali Turgut. A well-weighted ball, but slightly too high for Manningham player to reach. Of course, the other game that kicks off at 3 p.m. is Avondale taking on Hume City. We'll bring you those results across the afternoon. It's a great afternoon of NPL football, truly entering the winter months, but it is quite a sunny afternoon here in Templestowe. As we will see now, Evan Michael Giannakis take the goal kick. Of course, this is not his first rodeo at the Port Melbourne Sharks. And a stint at the Lions in between. And good with the header. Edwards into feeders, Emmanuel Peters. Looking to beat his way through several players, but he can't do so. And here's Theodorakopoulos just on halfway. Golding. Oh, it's sweet skills from Tom Golding. With him and Owen Stokes, who he'd beat past, have played in New Zealand in the past, and Bechmanovsky looks towards that right flank. Fraser Dunlop loses his footing, and the Blues can pick up. Ramirez, Everson. Here is Ramirez. Theodorakopoulos. Sending it towards that right flank with a great lateral pass, and here is Ali Turgut. Turning on to his left and plays it back towards Junior Cutter. Fantastic ball towards Golding. Ball into the mixer, and it's Nathaniel Hancock who can get it clear. Dan Edwards. It's a sumptuous ball towards Courtney Perkins, and the Sharks might be away here. He's got Emmanuel Peters for support. Peters isolated with Dale Akol, both NPL New South Wales players, and Akol wins out on that occasion. And good work once more by the Blues, but the Sharks will pick up in their attacking half once more. Edwards towards Baker. Well, I mean, what a rise for Emmanuel Peters in recent seasons. Of course, one of the very few players who has played for both sides, actually has played for Manningham United in the past. Also had stints at Dandenong City, Central Coast Mariners Academy, Mount Druitt, Marconi, Kingston City. Of course, arrived back to Australia from a stint in Malta with Kosem Ajax. But a rare sort of, I wouldn't say poor patch of form for him, but hasn't scored in his last 3 games, so it might be a cause for concern. And Port Melbourne might have some more pressing issues to deal with now, with Fraser Dunlop coming off for some treatment. Looks like he'll be good to go. Here's Hancock. Courtney Perkins looking to weave his way through. Peters. Numbers up forward for the Sharks. Bechmanovsky. Back towards a returning Dunlop. Racing towards the byline. It's cleared away by Manningham. Stokes. Dunlop. Searching ball once more. And Akol gets his head in the way. Ramirez as well to break the space, but Maker will charge forward. It's back with Dunlop. Claimed very neatly by George Samaranis. Samaranis, of course. Oakley and Richmond Soccer Club Junior, well now known as Greater Dandenong, of course. They renamed this season. And Maker with a big error. But Michael Giannakis gets it clear. Here's Cutter. Golding. 2 Kiwis doing battle. And it is the younger Tom Golding who wins out on that occasion. And he will win the throw in. 3 goals in 25 games for the Eastern Lions last season. It was Tom Golding. As Everson briefly won possession over Manawaku and Bergenhead in New Zealand, not even in the top flight. And the way that he's adapted to NPL1 football like a moth to a flame. Here's Emmanuel Peters striding forward. Options to his right. Here's Bechmanovsky. Alex Bechmanovsky! Just wide of the goal. Well, much can be said about that young man. Only 20 years of age. His father, Sash Bechmanovsky, one of the greats of Victorian football. Formerly of Green Gully, Preston Lions, and now Tona Magic. 4 golden boots, the greatest post-war goal scorer we've seen, and to see his son absolutely be a focal point of this Port Melbourne side in recent weeks is a true testament to the upbringing that he's had. And also, I guess, his time at Melbourne City in the last 3 years has been very beneficial for him. Maker steps out of play, and Manningham will take the throw in. His father, Sash, also played with Matthew Leckie at the Bulleen Lions in 2008. Very, very young Matthew Leckie, might we add.
Oh my God, how is he?
Leach lets one fly. I think he might have stepped out of play, though. Samaranis with a huge clearance, and it might find its place into the feet of Robert Harding, but unfortunately for him, it does not on this occasion. Hancock looks long. So no one in pursuit on that occasion. Castiello. Samaranis out towards that left-hand flank. Turgut with the flick. Golding keeps it in play briefly, but didn't work out kindly for him as Stokes finds a defeat. Leach, a great ball into the mixer. It's Bechmanovsky. Heavy touch. Sees it towards that left flank. It's Edwards. Now Leach on his right foot. Looking to curl it, but it's well into the arms of George Samaranis. He's got to take his sweet time here. Baker. Here's Junior Cutter. It's a great ball towards Ben Everson. Can he get a touch on? He can't. And there's calls for a back pass against Maker, but it doesn't look like he actually intended to play the ball. And here's Baker. Bechmanovsky. Edwards. Dan Edwards once more towards Stokes. Here's Maker. This is good combination play from the Port Melbourne Sharks. Leach briefly loses his footing. Shifts it back towards Baker. Here's Owen Stokes. For a chip ball through, but there's a player offside as well. I think that might have been Dan Edwards. Really, really good story, Alex Baker. Of course, grew up in regional Victoria. Of course, played his football at the Ballarat Devils and Ballarat City. Actually played NPL2 football as a 17-year-old before moving to the Western United Academy 3 years ago. as the ball's overhit for Robert Harding. Then he moved to the Icelandic second division with Flotur, and has spent the last few seasons at the Dandong Thunder and also the Bentley Greens. Still is quite young and is a player that can really get up and down the flanks and also play as a centre half, so provides plenty of variety and width. Hancock. Here's Dunlop. Looked slightly overhit it so he could actually receive the ball again, but he wasn't successful in his pursuit on that occasion. About 15 minutes gone here. And no real action to speak of. Stokes looks down towards Edwards, who's racing forward. Space to work with. Edwards, ball into the middle. It's a Cole. Slightly loses his footing. It's with Emmanuel Peters, but it's lashed clear eventually. Dower Cole did very well in that instance. Here's Leach. He's been dispossessed. And in towards Ramirez. In a tussle with Fraser Dunlop, and he eventually goes to ground. Ganderian, nothing doing for the referee. Stokes. Here's Baker. Edwards. Port Melbourne really controlling possession at the moment. Petrovsky. Leach. In transition, the Port Melbourne Sharks. It's Charlie Leach. Manningham remaining compact and composed. In fact, they do have the worst defensive record in the entire competition. But they have scored 24 goals this season, so it's above a goal a game, which is a very good start. We know that when they're flying, they are one of very few teams to really cast your eyes away from. Despite coming up from NPL 2 or VPL 1, they are a team that loves to score goals, and George Karkoletsis has ensured that the style of play has been enforced regardless of outcome. Pretty unrelenting, and it's the way to go, to be certain. Here's Baker stepping into midfield. Stokes has had a good little patch of goal-scoring form in recent weeks, with 2 against St Albans. Edwards. Baker. Towards Edwards. Baker. Petronovsky now on this left-hand side. Stokes. Trying to pierce the gaps and openings within this Manningham defence, and a good touch from Peters. And a Cole has forced that out for a corner. Avondale have taken the lead against Hume City. Goal from Stefan Zinni. Delivery now towards a near post. And danger now averted for the home side. And Fraser Dunlop will track back. Formerly of Bayswater in NPL Western Australia. Spent time at the Perth Glory as well with a couple of current A-League players, including the likes of Jacob Muir, Giordano Collier, to name a few. Here's Turgut. And Baker stepping in with a great pass towards Bechvanovsky, who has a good touch. Edwards. Incisive ball towards Bechvanovsky, who's brought to ground. Gendirian not pointing to the spot. Probably the right decision, all things considered. But the Sharks are really building their way into this tie. And the last few minutes have been very intriguing. Let's see how Port Melbourne like to knock it around, in and around the penalty area, as Hancock plays a long ball. Already sits nicely for George Samaranis. Cutter. Forced to clear was Dawako. Hancock. He's had a flick towards that right flank for Manningham. Turgut. It's Cutter. Breaks the space kindly. And Theodorokopoulos has space to shoot, but his first touch is overhit. Cutter sliding in as well. Baker. A great pass towards Leach. He's dispossessed. And Dawako once more. Here's George Samaranis. Tavella. Pressure being applied by the Port Melbourne Sharks. Leach. Nice little back heel. In towards Dunlop briefly. Manningham composed. Game's slightly beginning to open up. But a poor error once again from George Samaranis. Here's Courtney Perkins looking to turn the corner. And Hancock stepping in. Oh, foot up from Maker. Manningham's coaching staff are very upset at that decision, or lack thereof. Could have been much worse. The switch from Marco Tavella, but Edwards flicks it over the top. Here's Owen Stokes. Searching ball over the top. Header forward from Manningham, and again, they afford themselves some defensive reprieve, but only briefly as Dan Edwards picks the pocket of Junior Cutter. Here's Courtney Perkins, sidestepping. Jackson Courtney Perkins, and now will go out for a corner. Well, Dan Edwards has been such an incredible force down that left-hand flank for the Port Melbourne Sharks for the last few seasons. The Kiwi, of course, formerly of Eastern Suburbs Birkenhead, and also played NCAA football in the US with the Thundering Herd. Originally arrived to Australia as a midfielder, now he's converted into a full left back. The cross comes in, and Hancock can't get ahead to it. Golding. Bechvanovsky spots out on that right flank. Owen Stokes has entered the box, and the initial cross into the middle is deflected away. Here's Theodorokopoulos shouldering off Maker. And a sloppy giveaway again from Manningham. Here's Leach. Stokes. Courtney Perkins, and a massive slide from Ramirez. But here's Fraser Dunlop racing towards the byline. Looking to cut it across, but the last touch did come off the Western Australian. And it will be a goal kick. Well, the Port Melbourne Sharks have shown their quality in these opening 25 minutes, but really struggled to create any chance of note. Neither goalkeeper has really been forced into making a save. Marco Giannakis has had one or two, but besides that, really, despite Port Melbourne clearly having the upper hand. Manningham are remaining composed and haven't wavered in their concentration whatsoever. Peters. Everson, that's an exquisite touch. Despite his old age, he's still one of the very few players that can succeed at this level and have that touch of class that very few people in their late 30s do have. Theodorakopoulos, pocket picked. Stokes, that is brilliant. Leach finds Dunlop just on halfway. Bit tricky from Owen Stokes. And Leach again looked to be dispossessed, and Manningham enforcing a bit of a press here. And Baker with a poor giveaway. Everson. So Theodorakopoulos to his right, and the pass just doesn't quite find him. Here's Golding tracking deep. Cutter. That's a brilliant ball towards Robert Harding. I think it hit his shoulder anyway. It might have hit his arm, but none of that really matters as he was offside originally. Baker asking for runners forward. Stokes with a diagonal ball towards Dunlop and a good first touch. Fraser Dunlop beating past Tavella briefly towards the back post. It goes. Courtney Perkins bundling over a Manningham player. Alex Castiello taking matters into his own hands. Now Dan Edwards will pick up the Sharks' captain. Stokes. An Irish youth international actually played against Leroy Sane. Yes, the Leroy Sane at one point through his Irish youth career. And also formerly of Leeds United, made his debut for them in 2017. In a cup match against Newport County. Following that, spent time at Bohemians, Derry City, Cork City, and Scotland as well. And a great stint at Christchurch United in the New Zealand National League with 18 goals in 25 games. Here's Junior Cutter. Turgut. Sort of a flat back four in possession for the Blues as Dunlop heads away. Bechmanovsky knew nothing about that. Maker stepping in. Stokes towards Hancock. Michael Giannakis. Dan Edwards striding forward, looking to his right. Leach. Further right is Dunlop. Ball into the middle. A Cole with a diving header. Here's Dan Edwards. Deflected off Cutter and out for a corner. The first real big chance for the Port Melbourne Sharks. A more familiar position for Dan Edwards, moving into that central channel. And Dan Edwards will provide the delivery and roll it short towards Owen Stokes. Hits the crossbar. That's a good set-piece routine from Nick Marinos' men. Would have definitely been drawn up in the back room at the training ground. And Manningham just cannot afford too much pressure from the Sharks, and gaps will begin to open once more. They do not arrest this decline. And Baker. These are important points to pick up for the Port Melbourne Sharks, who currently sit in 6th place, and if they do make finals, it'd be quite the achievement, considering a lot of these players, well, number one, had not really played a lot of NPL1 football, and number two, a lot of them haven't played senior football either. Nathaniel Hancock, the prime example, barely got a look in at South Melbourne, and now has come to Port Melbourne and has become an ever-present force. Point to someone like Alex Pechanovsky as well, and Fraser Dunlop, who themselves haven't played senior football. Pechanovsky only breaking into the team in recent weeks. And Port Melbourne have a reputation of playing young players, even under Adam Pittock. Dylan Leonard, the 15-year-old at the time, starting to break into that side that did finish in the final spots last season. And now as a 16-year-old, moved to Western United in their youth setup and has now signed a scholarship contract. So, a bit of kudos for Port Melbourne in recent weeks. Time forward for Golding. Whip towards the back post. Ramirez! Kept in play by Harding. And neatly done so. And Maker, legs spread to get the ball away. Pechanovsky back to goal. Finds Leach. Manuel Peters turns the corner and is brought down. Might we see the first yellow card of the afternoon? And we will. And Dow Alcohol goes into the book. Pretty needless to be said. The second game of the afternoon. Avondale versus Hume City, currently at 1-0. Couple other kickoffs around the grounds as well, with Dandenong City taking on Melbourne Knights in that Croatian derby. Score currently 0-0 there in the 17th minute. And Moreland City kicking off against St Albans. And in fact, as I literally speak, Melbourne Knights have taken a lead against Dandenong City, which could have important ramifications upon this fixture. Edwards towards Courtney Perkins. Maker. Here's Peters. A good through ball towards that right-hand side, but Fraser Dunlop loses out possession once more. Peters, Leach. Here's Courtney Perkins. Looking to ride the challenge. It's Jackson Courtney Perkins. And Peters, after a scuffle, wins possession again. Well, Charlie Leach, hasn't he been quite the diminutive midfielder for a few seasons now in the NPL Victoria after arriving from the Perth Glory Youth Academy? He joined the Altona Magic last season, and in his early 20s, really, he's quite the force of nature. A very Western Australian feel to this Port Melbourne side. As Dunlop now delivers one towards the back post, and there was Courtney Perkins. Whisks away from the left post. And another chance goes begging for the Port Melbourne Sharks. Sniffing around, looking to devour their prey in the form of Manningham. Haven't quite found the time and space to get a clear shot off, but those moments in transitions, though, those few flick-ons could be the difference. Do not underestimate Manningham's ability to score goals against the run of play, and, well, essentially score 3 goals in 4 minutes, and that's what they did against the Altona Magic to come back from 4-1 down. Unfortunately for them, they conceded, I wouldn't say a late winner, but it was fairly late to Stephen Lawless in the battle here a few weeks back. Tavella. Dunlop. And Manningham win back possession through Ben Everson. Space forward for the Blues. Harding still on side. Towards the back post it goes. It's flicked on by Baker. Might go out for a corner. It has. So Manningham with a real big opportunity here to make ends meet. It's Tom Golding. Standing over this one. Golding lofted low towards the back post. It's cleared just off the line. Wasn't quite on the line per se, but a good moment of intention from George Karkaletsis. And that routine. Tom Golding, such a great set-piece delivery master, one would have to say, as Leach is charged down. Kept in play by Dunlop. And space in midfield for Cutter. He can spot Golding to his right. And Manny Peters just gives him a bit of a kick. And Cutter is brought back up to his feet by Peters. A good moment of sportsmanship. Love to see that. Here's Cutter. You can really feel the Sulaki smoke here on the terraces. There's Golding with a great touch. It's Tom Golding! Oh! Slightly over the bar. But a brief moment of magic from the Kiwi. And an important moment for Manningham, who've had some good opportunities in the last 5 minutes. Things really evenly poised, but a great flick on towards Dunlop now. Runners arriving for the Port Melbourne Sharks, and it's out for yet another corner. They like to overload that right-hand flank. That's really been the moment and the means of intent for the Port Melbourne Sharks. Razor Dunlop receiving a lot of the ball on that right-hand side, converted into a right fullback, of course, arrived at the club as a winger. And Edwards will deliver on his left foot. The in-swinger towards the centre, and it's Samaranis who is able to catch it and bombs it long. Bechvinovsky was there to track back. And Maker will pick up. Of course, his brother is former NBA star Thon Maker, who was drafted by the Milwaukee Bucks. Number 10 overall. I think it was in 2016. Maker also not his first stint at the Port Melbourne Sharks. He's playing for the club previously, arriving back this season following a stint at the Dandenong Thunder. And also actually signed for, yes, this is a football club, Flat Earth FC in Spain's third tier. The club's now since been renamed, but foul is called towards the Sharks as they look towards Dan Edwards. A miscue from Golding. But the two Kiwis go in battle yet again. Across the byline towards Leach. Incisive ball towards Bechvinovsky. The back heel, it's Leach! Slightly off-footing. And sends it over the bar. But a good moment again for the Port Melbourne Sharks. Finding space within the box. Just unable to finish their chances, really. And that's been the name of the game. at the moment on goal difference. Moreland City are ahead of Manningham, but things could change. Here's Edwards. Can he beat off Ali Turgut? He can't. The centre half is going to stride forward and find Golding on his right flank. Here's Theodorakopoulos on the edge of the area. Looks to have a second bite of the cherry, perhaps. Hits the head of Owen Stokes. And the Sharks could be away here. Bechmanovsky. Edwards, good first touch and attempts to beat past Castiello. A good ball towards Manny Peters, but Dawakol was in the way at the right time. Here's Bechmanovsky. Looking to turn away Stokes. Hancock. Edwards once more. Cutter. First time ball towards Tom Golding. Baker in the way. Here's Ali Turgut, formerly of Hume City and Dandenong Thunder. It's a high ball, might find Marco Giannakis, can only punch it clear. Cutter. Castiello. Out towards Turgut. All the way to Dawakol. Samaranis. Harding is definitely offside here. And the flag has now been raised. Here's Evan Marco Giannakis. Flicked on by Courtney Perkins. It's Bechmanovsky. And racing forward here is Owen Stokes. On the left edge of the penalty area, it's Alex Baker now. In towards Stokes. Picked off by Ben Everson, who looks to beat past Alex Baker, and he does so brilliantly. Does the Englishman, and Puya Gandarian not awarding a foul. Is Owen Stokes. Maker. Baker towards Edwards. Well, important sliding challenge from Junior Cutter, who's been lashed down by Owen Stokes and awarded a yellow card. Well, this is a very integral moment for Manningham, perhaps against the run of play. Dandenong City have equalised against the Melbourne Knights. And now we'll see Christos Theodorakopoulos. Can Manningham United edge their way back into an important position in the relegation fight with this set piece? As Theodorakopoulos who goes direct, and Cutter looking to follow suit, but leaves it towards that left flank. And just the 1 minute of added time in this first half. Edwards. Hancock still within the area. It's Golding across the face, and the strike arrives, but just slightly wide from Jose Ramirez. And it looks like Petrunovsky and Courtney Perkins are going to switch wings yet again. Stokes towards Dunlop. Tavella providing chase. Well, both sides relatively evenly poised in this first half. They've had a few good chances here and there. Port Melbourne probably have the ascendancy, but Manningham should be very happy with their first half efforts. It's definitely not been in vain as the halftime whistle is blown here at Paddy's Reserve. This game hangs in the balance. 0-0 heading into the break. We'll be back within 15 minutes for the second half. Welcome back to this round 18 NPL Victoria clash between Manningham United and the Port Melbourne Sharks. 0-0 at the halftime break. Neither side able to break the deadlock. But we do have a sneaky suspicion that that might change in this second half. No changes from either side, it looks like, with Ben Everson and Jose Ramirez kicking us off. The two veterans of this Manningham side. And Theodorakopoulos looking to send it long, but right into the feet of Alex Baker. Here's Emmanuel Peters. Courtney Perkins with the flick on. And Turgood wins out. Everson in space to run into, but Hancock is able to eliminate the danger. Scores around the grounds. Dandenong City now trail Melbourne Knights 1-2. Avondale lead 2-0 against Hume City. And Moreland City, who you'd assume Manningham are more focused on, currently drawing 0-0 with St Albans. And it looks like there's a player down here for Manningham. And the physio has been called. A potential shoulder injury, it looks like, maybe, for Marco Tavella. Well, this is not good news. I mean, we did see Adam El Hayek go down last week for Avondale with a shoulder injury, and he's looks to be out for a few weeks. But looks like he's going to be all okay, which is good news. Here's Junior Cutter. Cutter towards the mixer. It evades everyone, and a free strike on goal it was, and Everson with a follow-up, but it's unable to be found in the back of the net. An excellent defensive challenge for the Port Melbourne Sharks twice on that occasion, and neither Robert Harding nor Ben Everson could find the opener. But a golden chance goes begging, and Owen Dufton, who's still injured, can't quite believe it. Just raising his hands on this near broadcast side is Everson looking to break the space. Couple of rollovers, but the Sharks win back possession through Peters and spots Bechvanovsky on that right-hand side and unable to execute. Here's Everson. It's deflected away, and it might fall kindly for Golding with the first-time strike. That's just whisking wide of the goal, but a good, encouraging start for Manningham. Most definitely on the front foot. You see Puyo Gandirian having a chat to Alex Castiello and Ramirez, and it looks like Cutter is just going to have a rest. Probably because he's going to tie his laces. Not often you do see that. Evan Marco Giannakis is just going to take his time with the goal kick. There's obviously plenty of artillery on the bench for either side. Of course, Port Melbourne without Lucas Burns. I do understand that he has departed the club, with the window opening in a few days. That might change the course, because Lucas Burns hasn't featured in a few weeks, so he might have left the club. Edwards towards Peters. Towards Dunlop. Entering the area. Twisting, turning onto his left foot. It's Fraser Dunlop. Wow! What a moment for the Western Australian. Fraser Dunlop. His first this season. And what a way to break the deadlock. An unbelievable moment And the poise of a striker, but a right back in nature. An excellent job. And Manningham's long stand comes to a close, and this might kickstart a goal-scoring afternoon for the Sharks, but it falls towards Golding with a poor touch. We have seen a pretty eventful second half at this very facility. 7 goals in the Altona Magic Manningham game a few weeks back in that second half. Might that change the course? Who knows? But what an absolutely incredible finish from Fraser Dunlop, who breaks the deadlock for the campaign. And did it in some style. Is Evan Mahoyanakis. Dunlop not afforded too many starts this season, but has come up big when moments count in quite a huge way. Cutter launching it forward. Baker. Here is Dan Edwards. Now Hancock. Maker. Stokes. Finds Edwards. Good touch. Looking more central, but Betranovsky breaks the offside track. Alex Betranovsky. Another chance for the Sharks. Knocking on the door of the Blues, asking the question, and that was fantastic interplay in towards the youngster. Might more chances be more forthcoming. Hancock. Baker looking down the line. Neat little ball over the top, and Leach will look and direct its attention forward. It's Betranovsky. Stokes. It's Peters on his right foot, turning left. Emmanuel Peters. Shot deflected and out for a corner, but the Sharks are really showing Manningham how things are done. Here's Owen Stokes. Shaped high, and it's batted away by Zamaranis. And here is Edwards. Stokes once more, driving inside. It's Owen Stokes, took a deflection, and out for yet another corner. Well, now they're just about peppering the goal. Here's Owen Stokes. Once again, on that far side. Fashioned into the middle. Samaranis can't get it clear. It's cleared it off the line. A moment of crisis for the Blues. And looks like Marco Tavella has kept them in this game for the moment. Dunlop. Well, the nutmeg from Cutter. And now Ramirez. Looking towards Alex Castiello. Hoof towards that left-hand side. Golding. Everson. Space opening up on that left flank for Golding. Can he beat past Maker? He can't. An excellent defensive challenge from Maker, who's been such an incredible force this afternoon. Courtney Perkins back to goal. A shirt pull from McCall. Oh, and an off-the-ball challenge against Harding. And now Golding slipping a ball through towards Ben Everson, and Hancock plays it back towards Michael Giannakis. It's very much more free-flowing in the opening 10 minutes of this second half than we've seen in recent weeks. Here's Peters. Rolling along the floor. But as mentioned, yes, the Port Melbourne Sharks do have a lot of players on the bench that they could bring into this game and really ensure that they can see things out. Atticus Gonzalez, Manhom Karmas could potentially make his return. And looks like Alex Baker's been given a yellow card, and a stern talking to by Puya Gandarian. Mark Latsis as well, who did score last time these sides faced off. Andrew Mezzaruni. He's been quite the tidy player this season for the Sharks. Here's Dunlop. Chests it down and it's got trackers and runners forward. Could look to be charged down by Golding. Shakes off the challengers. Dunlop towards the centre, but it's all claimed by Tamaranis. As for Manningham, they do have the tricky winger and important player, Mohamed El Sadi, as a potential bench option. Hayden Cross and Reece Dufton and the youngsters, including the likes of Lucas Heravim. James Tunsis finds a spot on the bench after having a good few weeks for the Blues as well. So if you're looking for attacking firepower and runners arriving, that's certainly the way to do it if you're Manningham. Just a baptism of fire for the young players, dare I say. Ball in towards Courtney Perkins, shaping away from McCall. Oh, calls for a back pass against Ali Turgut. This could be a very intriguing point of concern. It actually was Castiello, should I say. As I mentioned, the Sharks without Lucas Burns today, as featured in recent weeks, has led to some speculation. Was in the Team of the Week a few weeks back as well, so that's certainly intriguing to delve into as Everson gets a good first touch. It's Ben Everson who's been brought to ground by Maker. But not enough for Puya Gandarian to point to the spot. Following that long clearance over the top. Could have spelled disaster for the Sharks if they weren't able to give away a fairly cheap penalty, but Maker is able to live another day, and here's Charlie Leach. That pass intercepted by Robert Harding, doing his work, tracking back. And Cutter, a forward space for Tom Golding to run into. Spots Theodorakopoulos ahead of him. And now Everson, entering the area on his right foot, is Ben Everson. A deflection once more. Golding picking the pocket. It's Tom Golding! Looked to pierce the bottom right corner, but he couldn't do so. And it looks like Mohamed Al Sadi is going to be the first player to come on for Manningham. Cheaply given away by the Sharks. Tavella, Harding, good touch towards Ramirez. And Stokes will now find Dan Edwards. Here's Courtney Perkins. It's Peters in transition. Looking back towards Jackson. Courtney Perkins with a first-time ball. It doesn't fall, though, however. And we'll see the introduction of the 18-year-old Muhammad Al-Sadi. He's had a couple of good moments this season. Did score against the Altona Magic. Such a tidy player, formerly of Pascoe Vale, and is a player to keep your eye on. Has a excellent technical acumen. Is a player that likes to whiz and fizz around. Couple of step overs here and there, and certainly is an excitement machine. It's Cutter looking to shape away from Courtney Perkins and Charlie Leach. Excellent work, and Al-Sadi will receive his first touch in transition. It's Muhammad Al-Sadi cutting on his left. Al-Sadi leaves it nicely for Ramirez, and it's Al-Sadi with a flick on once more. A touch from Theodorakopoulos. Edwards shaping away. Twisting, turning, bundled down, and eventually cleared down the line. Here's Theodorakopoulos with a back heel, and that's executed to perfection. Ramirez finds Al-Sadi right towards the byline. And eventually does find Bechvanovsky. He's been picked off once more, and here's Turgut. Theodorakopoulos. Not sure what the intent was there. That's the Sharks have some reprieve. Interesting to note about Muhammad Al-Sadi. 21 goals in 19 games in the under-21s competition in the NPL2 last season with the likes of Pascoe Vale and also Manningham. Well, if you can do that at that level, you'd expect you could do that at NPL2 level. And he did so, and certainly repeated that in the top flight. Do see some Port Melbourne Sharks players warming up. Might be a sign that a change could be made in a few moments. As Cutter rides a challenge from Bechvanovsky and still holds possession. Everson. Outside of the foot pass was executed to near perfection as it's sent over now. Everson. Turgut. It's Ben Everson. Back towards Ali Turgut! And Manningham might have a way back. Ali Turgut. His first of the campaign as well. And after knocking on the door in the last 5 minutes, the door has been answered by virtue of the NPL veteran in the form of Ali Turgut in this game. Has got plenty more twists and turns. And a touch of class from Everson, who again demonstrates he is a player that fits the description of former's temporary. Class is permanent. So more soul searching for the Port Melbourne Sharks. They've entered a winning position. And can they find that go-ahead goal? And for Manningham, conversely, 91 days since they've won a game at Petty's Reserve. Could this afternoon be potentially the occasion that they've been waiting for so long. With bated breath. 8 weeks since they won a game. That was against Moreland City, a 4-1 win. And Turgut spots Robert Harding as he drives towards the byline, and Maker sends it out for a corner. Well, the second half show at Petty's Reserve continues. 2 goals in just 20 minutes. You might see a change as well for the Port Melbourne Sharks, it looks like. But after this corner kick towards the near post, here's Peters. Bechvinovsky. Good technique on that occasion. And now we will see confirmation of the change, and off coming will be the goal scorer, and Fraser Dunlop. And if I were to guess, it's Mark Latsis. Well, I'm sure he'll have the last time he played against Manningham fresh in the memory. Hasn't scored in quite some time, but had success against the Blues last time out. Arriving from Melbourne Victory's Youth Academy following a stint at Kingston City in their first team, and after suffering a leg break in the promotion relegation playoff in 2022, has returned to senior football and has really been a shining light in this Port Melbourne 11 under good coaching as well with from Nick Marinos, it has to be said. Has really grown into his role, and also there's been a huge tactical shift for some players in this Port Melbourne side. I mean, Jackson Courtney Perkins mainly played as a right wing back in previous seasons under Adam Pittock. He's been shifted to towards the right wing, and has also played on the left as well. Sort of left an opening for someone like Mark Latsis to come in and cause some damage when needed. But he's someone that can bomb up and down those flanks. See, Maker also shifting up higher as well. So could that be a sign of things to come? Here's Hancock. I'm sure Port Melbourne would be very happy knowing that it looks like at least the Dandenong City are going to drop points against the Melbourne Knights as things currently do stand. As for Manningham, at the moment, at the very least, they're in a great position concerning the table, as we do see Al-Sadi breaking into space. It's Mohamed Al-Sadi! A good save, and oh, goodness gracious me! Christos Theodorakopoulos. It was on a platter for him. And in fact, that'll be his last act of the afternoon, as he's being brought off for James Tunsis. Had to bury that. And James Tunsis, the former Western United youth product, more of a winger, dare I say. And it looks like Ben Everson will be the sole target man up top. Perhaps. Also formerly of Box Hill United and Melbourne Victory's Youth Academy. Had 3 goals in 7 games last season for the Blues, and has already equalled his goal tally this season. Al-Sadi. Manningham have momentum going their way. As that clearance is towards Courtney Perkins. A good challenge from Marco Tavella. And it looks like we'll see yet another change. Alex Bechvinovsky will stay on, looks like, but thought it was 25. But in fact, Andrew Mezzaruni is going to come on for Emmanuel Peters. Probably a good change, more or less like for like. Mezzaruni, of course, the South Melbourne youth product. That's where his father currently takes the role as football director. And an enormous challenge from Junior Cutter. Samaranis looking long towards Al-Sadi, and Edwards with the initial touch out of the way. Well, you just get the feeling that there's an aura of incoming pandemonium. As a handball is called against Jose Ramirez, who has some good moments this afternoon, but hasn't found, I guess, the time and space he would have liked, one would say. Cleared long. Courtney Perkins with the flick on. A Cole. Now it's Cutter. And Leach with excellent work. Mezzaruni, the deft touch. Hancock. Manningham just playing with so much confidence as they pick off a pass yet again. Here's Tunsis. Al-Sadi. The incisive ball towards Tunsis. Driving into the area. Across the face is Ben Everson! The turnaround is complete. James Tunsis. And who else but Ben Everson? Who brings Manningham within touching distance of a first home win in 3 months. His 6th for the season. Many questioned that he could be finished at this level. But time and time again, he proves the doubters wrong. What a moment. And Manningham on the balance of play absolutely deserve it. And James Tunsis, turning provider. Talk about an impact substitution. And once again, he'll play a long ball over the top to Ben Everson, who might be able to get ahead to it. And it's over the top of Evan Makoyanakis. But after seemingly having all the control over this fixture, it's completely escaped their palms. And Port Melbourne in risk of dropping yet another 3 points 2 weeks in a row. Here's Owen Stokes. Well, can Nick Marinos edge his side back into this contest in the remaining 15-20 minutes or so? Manningham playing with a chip on their shoulder, essentially having to defend for their lives at the moment. Here's Baker towards Stokes. Scott Maker laterally, and it's picked off by Robert Harding. No foul awarded though, and he had a clear path. Latsis. Cutter. Cutter riding the challenge and still going. The Japanese import. And beating past Maker. And now Nathaniel Hancock imposing himself as well. This crowd has been brought to life here at Petty's Reserve. Do not adjust your TV screens, iPhone, laptop, wherever you're watching. This is prime NPL Victoria football. That's a great ball over the top towards Courtney Perkins. Samaranis with the header away. Here's Mezzaruni. Breaking space. And a neat pass towards Leach. It's back towards Mezzaruni. And the pass overhit for Jackson Courtney Perkins. And A moment of frustration as a further pain brought upon this Port Melbourne side, with Dandenong City equalising yet again against Melbourne Knights, meaning that they are only 2 points within the Sharks. But Port Melbourne, fortunately for them, they do have the advantage of goal difference at the moment. Looks like a bit of treatment is being applied here. All is well, however. Well, Manningham, they have to just close out in these next 15 minutes. It's about holding on to the most faint of leads. Port Melbourne have had some moments. So do see another change as Mezzaruni will stride forward. Leach goes to ground. Towards Latsis. Now Everson. Touched slightly away from his body, and Stokes, absolute carnage in the midfield. Just towards Leach. Spots Edwards to his left, but opts for Courtney Perkins. Back towards Edwards as Dan Edwards to the delivery, and Cutter will send it out for a corner. And it looks like, yes, we will see another change. Atticus Gonzalez is being prepared to come on. Who for? We'll find out. And Owen Stokes will stand over this one for the delivery towards the near post. It's away by Cutter. And Ramirez looking down the line for Al-Sadi. And Latsis will play it back towards Marco Yanakis. Desperation for the Port Melbourne Sharks. Nick Marinos growing frustrated. Of course, they are also without Christian Bombachi, who has been out of the squad for several weeks. See Robert Harding striding forward. He's got Tunsis to his left. Couple of step overs. Rolling it square. It's Everson. Picked off by Maker briefly. One back by Ramirez. Out towards Al-Sadi. From left to right, the Blues traverse. And Maker, the timely interception. And Leach finds Courtney Perkins. Here's Edwards. Drifting away and looking down the line. Courtney Perkins with the flick on. Oh, a bit of a McGeady spin from Jackson Courtney Perkins. And will look to just go alone, actually. It looked like he was going to slide one through towards Charlie Leach. Towards the back post was Turgut, and Tunsitz gets it clear. Here is Dan Edwards. Looks like a double change, but not in the form of two players from one particular side. Coming off will be Charlie Leach oncoming. Atticus Gonzalez for the Port Melbourne Sharks. It looks like Reece Stufton is being prepared to come on for Manningham as well. Of course, with the very intriguing substitution board, we only have one sort of substitution could be done at once. It's two-sided, but it only allows space for one number per side. Which honestly makes life a little bit easier for us commentators. Looks like James Tunsis is going to have a chat to George Kakaletsis. Or might be one of his assistants. His body's just flying now. Alex Castello is going to probably come off here. It looks like he will. Looks like Reece Stuffton's being prepared to come back on. Yes, that's confirmation of that change. The Melbourne City Youth Academy product. And here is George Samaranis towards Al-Sadi. Tunsis. Al-Sadi. Down that right touchline, back towards Tunsis. Manningham now firmly out of the relegation zone as things currently do stand. In 12th place, which is good news for them. Dan Edwards hooking it towards Mezzaruni, but Dufton was there to clear the space. Stepping up high again. Mark Latsis still going and spots out Bechvanovsky. Towards the back post it goes, and Tavella was there. It's back with Latsis, still alive for the Port Melbourne Sharks. It's Maker now. Towards Bechvanovsky. Asking plenty of his teammates. Towards a back stick again, Courtney Perkins. Flicked over the top by Tavella. And it'll be seen out for a corner. Owen Stokes now. I'm not sure how many times he's done it, but basically every single Port Melbourne Sharks defender has come up for this corner. Hancock, Baker, the intended targets, you would say. Towards a back stick. Again, Hancock was there, but he missed it. And Manningham can breathe yet another sigh of relief, as they are now on the precipice of securing that all-important win. Well, with Hume City looking to drop points as well, this might be a positive sign for the Sharks, as obviously with the win today, they could have been with only 2 points of Hume City. And fortunately for them, Dandenong City have conceded yet again to the Melbourne Knights. 3-2 at Frank Holohan. It's claimed kindly by George Samaranis, and he'll take his time. We have seen late drama with the Sharks. They did get a late draw against Moreland City. It was Bechvanovsky who did score the all-important go-ahead goal. And there's certainly time here as Cutter turns away from his marker. Well, the outside of the foot pass directed towards Tunsis. And now sent long by Marko Yanakis. Dufton with a deft touch. Bechvanovsky. Here is Courtney Perkins. Edwards now. Back towards Courtney Perkins, the Queenslander. It's Bechvanovsky. Mezzaruni. And a heavy, heavy touch. And George Samaranis is going to take all the time he needs. Baker. Edwards. Here's Courtney Perkins. Tunsis. Still going down that right touch line. Well, as we head into the back half of the season, there's obviously a few important fixtures for both sides. Manningham have the return fixture against Avondale next week. Can they go 2 for 2 against the reigning champions this season? As for the Port Melbourne Sharks, they do face off against Heidelberg United in what will be Nick Marinos's, well, I guess makeshift return to Olympic Village. Of course, was appointed the 23s coach. And it calls for a handball against Maker. Maker waved away by Genderian. Hancock. 4 minutes left of regulation time here at Paddy's Reserve, and Port Melbourne are moving with an edge of desperation as Gonzalez cheaply gives it away. Ramirez again with a poor pass. Courtney Perkins got himself in front, and Ramirez is in a bit of pain as well. Chopping like flies now. it's quite the thing to witness. Jose Ramirez just taking his time. Hopefully he's all okay. Going to receive some treatment. Plenty of action coming away on the Football Victoria channels this evening in the NPL Victoria men's competition. The Altona Magic take on Green Gully at 6:15, and Dandenong Thunder take on the Oakley Cannons at 7 p.m, featuring this very cameraman. So if you've enjoyed his skills this afternoon, then I'm sure you will thoroughly enjoy it for the Dandenong Thunder Oakley Cannons fixture. Avondale have scored a third, and a very nice story. We believe it is Christian Trajewski who scored. So his return from injury has now led to his return and scores coming off the bench, which is a great moment for him. Edwards. Cutter heads away. Mezzarudi. Players just tumbling over at this point. And this time it was Robert Harding who looked to be in a bit of strife. Here's Owen Stokes. Mezzaruni, good touch and a sumptuous ball towards that right flank. It's Latsis on his left foot. Now on his right. Mezzaruni checking away. The flick on from Stokes. It's Dan Edwards. Towards Mezzaruni. Looking to deliver one. Took a couple deflections and it's all in the arms of George Samaranis. In that relegation 6-pointer, St Albans have taken a lead against Moreland City away from home. High ball towards that right-hand side, and it will be Port Melbourne to take once more. Well, they have to throw basically the kitchen sink at it, really. That's their only path forward at this point in time. They've really struggled to find moments in transition, and Manningham have ensured that they've been resolute defensively. Out towards that right-hand side, it's Mark Latsis, and a good touch from Harding. And 6 minutes of added time, probably owing to the amount of injuries we've had. Is there time for late drama at Petty's Reserve? It's maker. It's Bechvanovsky with the chested touch. Out towards Samaranis. Avondale have a fourth against Hume City. It's really becoming the route at Avenger Park. Out towards that left flank, and Lances with the body check. Here's Baker. Dan Edwards. This has to be the moment for the Sharks. It's Stokes towards Mezzaruni, but Stokes did go to ground, and a yellow card to Robert Harding, it looks like, who provided the challenge. And so Port Melbourne if there's a time to make yourself a hero, it would be now. And Stokes. It's flicked on, and it's last touch coming off Alex Baker. Avondale have a fifth at Hume. Goodness gracious. Well, how a red card can change a game. I mean, that's a pure demonstration. What a demolition. Everson. Shaping away. Looking to spot the gap of Ramirez. It's Mezzaruni. Edwards. Just utilised about every single descriptor in the book to describe what Port Melbourne need to do at this moment in time. But Cutter bats it away yet again. Manningham holding on as best as they can. The searching ball forward once more. Here's Stokes. Lofted ball. Courtney Perkins. Chests it down. It's Courtney Perkins turning left. Turning right. Jackson Courtney Perkins! Another late show from the Port Melbourne Sharks. Twirling on his left. Twirling on his right. It doesn't matter. The Sharks have levelled things in stoppage time. Unbelievable. Might there be time for one last goal? I don't think there is, but who knows? Manningham did so well to crawl their way back in. but it's been snatched away at the last moment in the 94th minute. And there might be time. Probably a minute and a half left, maybe there or thereabouts. Al-Sadi. Maker stepping in. And striding forward like a gazelle. A touch from Edwards. And that's a very poor pass. Very poor at that. And George Samaranis is going to pick up and reconvene. I think it's a matter of just staying alive. Here's Ali Turgut. Spots Tunsis. Turning away on his right. It's James Tunsis. But Marco Yanakis didn't get complete possession of the football. And Hancock will find Edwards. This might be the final chance and a great sliding challenge. But Edwards will find space in midfield. Here's Owen Stokes. Towards Courtney Perkins. Past the byline. It's in towards Mezzaruni. Just about a tap in. And that could be the final act. Andrew Mezzaruni had to score there. And George Samaranis will take his time. We've just about reached 96 minutes gone. Gandirian looks at his watch. Looks like he'll let play continue. Edwards. Mezzaruni. Shifting away. A bit of skills as towards Stokes. Courtney Perkins. On his right. Short for Mezzaruni. Just wide of the goal. And that'll be the final act in what has been one of the most entertaining second halves you'll see. Both sides coming from behind, but neither side able to secure the 3 points. Goals from Ali Turgut, Fraser Dunlop, Ben Everson, and Jackson Courtney Perkins is what has left things at 2-2 at Petty's Reserve. Fortunately for Manningham, however, they do ensure that they are now above the relegation zone into 12th. With as things currently stand at the time of broadcast, Moreland City trailing St Albans. I've been Neil Simons for Football Victoria. It's been a pleasure to have your company. And we'll see you very, very soon for some more NPL action. Thank you very much and good night.